Monday, 8 a.m. You wake to the sight of your 5th level 9x9. The same 4 cardboard walls held together with spackle and hope that you've opened your eyes to for the past 3 years. The azure glow from the hollow outside pretends it's sunshine, and in your morning haze, you can almost trick yourself into believing it. Intimate, the ad said. Affordable. That second part turned out to be just as ironic, as this place now siphons off 80% of your credits every month. Better spot than most, though. At least you won't get knifed in the hall on your way to the shitter. Well, probably not. 1 hour to your meeting with Evans. Better get a move on. Shower, dress, grab your gear. A quick stop next door for caffeine. Catch the train at 8:30. Plenty of time. After a quick shower, you return to your apartment and dress to get ready for work. You're a hacker by trade, technically called a Information System Intrusion Specialist, but colloquially, a data rat. You crawl through the walls of computer systems quick and quiet, listen to the electronic whispers of the house, grab some cheese, squeeze back out the nearest hole, none the wiser. That's the goal, at least. But sometimes there are cats, traps, poisons, all manners of metaphoric hazards to avoid. But that's where the fun begins. You grab your external processing unit from its charging stand on your desk, make sure it's synced to your neural interface, and leave your apartment, careful to lock the door behind you. Your stomach rumbles as you take the elevator down to the foyer, and you contemplate breakfast as you head out into the already bustling streets of the city, ready to start your Monday. A short walk from your apartment, you head to the Smith Street bus station and make your way to the increasingly familiar wall of vending machines. Nestled in the sweet spot between convenience and necessity, they provide an uncanny valley of what might be considered food for absurd prices. A woman beside you giggles to herself, staring at the machine in front of her while you contemplate your options. Cerberus brand energy drink, advertising a unique blend of caffeine and amphetamines. Melee brand shakes, guaranteed to contain protein derived from 100% natural sources. A wide variety of chicken-flavored instant noodles, and a row of unlabeled tuna or maybe egg salad sandwiches. You snap your gaze up at the woman as she lets out a clipped and haunting ha ha as she stares longingly through the window, her breath condensing on its reinforced plastic surface. Out of a deep-seated desperation for adventure, or maybe just simple curiosity, you wave your hand over the vending machine's AR display, selecting one of the unlabeled sandwiches. You transfer 21.99 credits to the machine's drop account, and it whirs to life. With a shudder, it deposits the fist-sized package into the receptacle below. A friendly but lifeless voice chimes in through your internal audio.
Thank you for your purchase.
You retrieve the sandwich, and as you turn back, you find the blue-hooded woman suddenly much closer. Sweat beads on her face as her eyes languidly shift about unfocused. She points a finger at your purchase. Like a clam, the burnished shell will open. But is there a pearl within? Or only salt? This woman is likely a bliss addict, a type of black market neurosoft that's cranking up her body's natural endorphin production. They're usually harmless, but you never know. You give your best non-committal smile to the woman, and leave her to whatever internal meanderings brought her here to begin with. You make your way to the necessary terminal, and step aboard a newly arrived bus. Driverless, its automated system scans your face while an overly kitted security guard looks you up and down, nodding. Despite already being crowded with morning commuters, you manage to find an open seat next to a teenager dressed in vibrantly colored plastics. He nods his head to whatever music he's got piped over his internals, ignoring you as you settle in for the ride. You open your sandwich with a horrifically loud tearing sound, and the blast of accompanying smell gets you a sideways glance from the teen. For 5 minutes, you push the textureless item into your mouth. It assaults your tongue with a litany of entirely neutral flavors, wholly unidentifiable, and by the end of it, you still don't know what it is you just ate. Ride the bus from Smith Street to the train stop at Oak and 20th, transfer, and take the Green Line out to the Cooper Block on the northeast side. You're deposited a few streets from your destination, a sub-level bar called The Island, not far from the docks, and in a neighborhood where it's best not to linger. The gaudy, real neon sign above the door still hangs brightly from when this place used to be a tiki bar, the only remnant from before a gang's takeover a few years back. That turf acquisition happened to be a gig you were instrumental in, lending you steady work with the gang that now uses it as a base of operations. The gang's leader, Evans, has called you and a few others in this morning to discuss a new job. Big fucking golden egg type shit, as he put it. You make your way up to the blank, uninviting security door, broadcast your credentials with a wave of your hand, and it unlocks with a series of clicks before you make your way inside. You enter into the island, current home of your second breakfast gang. Your Neurosoft connects with the local network and accesses its group aesthetics programming. The current music selection fades into your internals, and the walls populate with the current pick of artwork. The former, an industrial beat obviously chosen by Evans for the occasion to get everyone psyched up for his big reveal, and the latter, a bunch of group photos, likely also chosen by him to enlist camaraderie or something. With your admin status, you also receive a slew of permissions from the island's internal systems and an updated security report. The system would have pinged you if anything bad had happened while you were away, but keeping logs can potentially solve future problems, so you have it set to auto backup to your internals. You see Jake, one of Second Breakfast's enforcers, sitting at the bar staring into space. Nat, your head tech, gives you a small nod from her table and goes back to nursing her drink. You pull a stool up to Nat's table and give her a friendly greeting. Natalia Malikova, aka Nat. As Second Breakfast's resident technician, she's the gang's best operator and fixer of anything mechanical. Drone pilot, driver, heavy equipment. If it needs repair or precision control, she's the one that you want for the job. She peers up at you over her steaming drink. Hey, how was your weekend? Do you know why we're here at this ungodly hour? I just pulled an all-nighter at the docks and I'm ready for some proper sleep. You tell her that Evans only said that he had some exciting news, but didn't give any details. Yeah, we're all in the dark about this one, I guess. I wish he'd be specific for once. I suppose we'll find out soon enough, she says with an exasperated sigh. We've got a few minutes here. You want some coffee? I've got a pot going behind the bar. Grab a cup if you want. You thank Nat for the offer, but stand and head to the back room to find Evans. Nat pours herself another cup of coffee and waves her hand in front of Jake's face. With a grunt, he snaps out of whatever was occupying his attention, and they both follow you. Evans sits behind a table he's set up at the far side of a small room. 4 chairs are arranged before him, one of which is occupied by your head runner, a twitchy young man named Coda. Good morning, fam. I guess we're all here then, Evans starts. Have a seat. Let's get down to it. You greet Coda, and the 3 of you sit in the cheap plastic seats, each squeaking in protest under your weight. I've got something juicy and tender for you. Something that's gonna put us in the big leagues. Something that's gonna line your pockets with goddamn gold. We're gonna rob fucking Ilion Corp. You lean in and ask Evans what it is exactly that you're stealing. A weapon prototype, he says simply, offering no specifics, being either ignorant or secretive. Something new, never seen before. Something they're trying to keep hush-hush. They're keeping security to a minimum to keep a low profile, which means we have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity here. They weren't expecting this info to leak, but my guy on the inside, he's good. We've got the ID codes on the package, the delivery schedule, the details on the security, the whole fucking thing. We just gotta get in there, grab it, disappear quick and quiet. I'm not saying this is gonna be low risk. Minimal security for Ilion is not gonna be like holding up a Fastmart or nothing. We're dealing with a well-trained team with some of the best tech on the market, but trust me, payout's gonna be well worth it. Got a few more weeks to plan this. You 4 will be in charge of how this goes down. I'll squirt you the data now, go over it today, we'll meet up again tomorrow, same time. Ilion Corp, one of the biggest international defense contractors in the world. Starting as a private security force during the Eurasian conflict in 2042, the company became widely known for its brutal but effective neural interface-based training regimen. Able to train new recruits in a matter of weeks with their new method, they were hugely successful during the conflict, and after its conclusion, moved on to provide corporate security for a number of groups. During the late 2050s, the company began to diversify. Using their training program as a jumping-off point, they invested large sums into various R&D projects and both large and small arms manufacturing. They now contract out to a number of governments and outside corporations around the world, while conserving the best of their technologies for their own means. You look back to Evans. You stay seated while the rest of the crew funnels out of the room. Evans gives you a serious stare while you begin to voice your concerns about the job. He listens carefully, waiting for you to finish your piece. Look, let me level with you. Yeah, this is risky. Stealing from a corp that specializes in not letting people steal from them. I hear you, that sounds crazy. But the info leak we got, it's real, it's solid, and it's the only opportunity we're ever going to get to seriously change our lives. These corps have the world by a leash. You're either a pet bowing down to eat from their hand, or you're a wild animal fighting over the scraps on the floor. I'm fucking tired of this shit. I'm fucking human, and I want to make my own goddamn choices. And this is our chance to get out from the boot at our necks. You get me? This is it. Our one chance. We steal whatever the secret prototype is, sell it off to some upstart revolutionaries or whatever. Everyone gets their share and you go start up your own business, buy a house, blow it all on drugs. I don't care what you do. You'll be able to do it. It'll be your choice. A short while later, you're sitting in your shitty apartment once again. You punch in the encryption key to the data package that Evans sent you and get to work on reviewing its contents. The bulk of the data is made up of raw shipping manifests, spreadsheets, receipts, and the like. Included with this, however, is a detailed, cited, and annotated summary of Alien Corp's plans for shipping their prototype, their route, gear, and the personnel involved, as well as some personal notes from Evans. You spend the rest of the evening checking and cross-referencing the validity of the information, and every bit of it checks out. Whoever put this all together is obviously brilliant and doesn't want this prototype to stay in Alien Corp's hands. In about 2 weeks, the prototype, housed in an unmarked armored truck, escorted by 5 well-armed security guards, is going to be placed on a ferry to cross the river into the city, unloaded at a private dock on the west side, and driven across the hills to Ilion Tower at the heart of the downtown corporate district. 3 potential ambush points have been highlighted by Evans. The River Mare is a small cargo ferry owned and operated by a private company called Carry On. It has been rented out by Alien Corp to transport the armored truck across the wide and shallow Stony River at 11 p.m. a few weeks from today. Other than the 5 guards, the 3 Carry On employees would be the only potential witnesses, but piracy of this nature will almost certainly end in a close-quarters brawl. The ferry is scheduled to arrive at the Carry On docks on the East Bank at 11:30 p.m. The docks would be a much less confined space to work in, but also have the potential of many more witnesses, and could get loud quickly if anyone alerted the authorities. It would offer you more flexibility in terms of prep time and options for the ambush. After unloading at the docks, the truck will be moving across the West Hills around midnight. The hills are a fairly rural area of old-growth forests and diminutive cliffs. The road passes through a few tunnels during its serpentine route, which could offer another potential ambush location. Traffic should be minimal at that time of night, and its rural nature would give you plenty of time to prepare for some good old-fashioned brigandry. You decide that isolating the truck in the West Hills would be the best option for this operation. In the tunnel, under so much rock, it will be completely separated from outside forces. Your team should be able to isolate it from any witnesses, and the lack of wireless signals within the tunnel will render it unable to call for help. This still leaves 2 major hurdles to overcome. Mainly, how do you stop and remove an item from a 15-ton armored truck, and how do you deal with the 5 guards outfitted in top-of-the-line military-grade kit? Focusing on the first issue, you look over the specs of the vehicle. The Alien Corp I-64C Light APC, the Aspis Gamma. Fully resistant to small arms and most explosives, this model was designed as a fast all-terrain logistics and reconnaissance vehicle. Despite the lack of weaponry, the only cracks in its aegis that you can find are those inherent to any vehicle. If the tires aren't touching the ground, it can't go anywhere. If the people inside want out, they'll open the doors, and it's controlled by a computer system, which happens to be your specialty. Most computer systems in this day and age communicate with the WorldNet via wireless connections. Everything from a printer to the toaster in your kitchen is in constant conversation with servers across the world. The speed of these connections allows for the majority of devices to have their actual data processing done remotely. This constant communication creates a potential security risk in any system but an individual's neural interface, which utilizes the complexity of its user's own brain activity for its encryption. For obvious reasons, this is not the case with military gear, which use dedicated internal systems, and as such, need direct physical connection to access. The specs of the Aspis Gamma show that it has a physically locked maintenance hatch on its right flank for charging and diagnostics. Nat should be able to rig up something to force entry so you can get at the data port within to start the hack. Once you're able to infiltrate the system, you'll be in the clear, able to deal with the guards in the truck as you please. Until then, there won't be anything stopping them from simply getting out and shooting you. You'll need a distraction as you work. Faking a traffic accident and having Jacob's team pretend to be a group of cops seems like a prime choice. Not only should it provide good cover to distract the guards in the truck, but it will allow them to openly carry weapons without arousing suspicion. You look over the data once more and assemble a list of goods you will need to acquire to present to Evans before finally calling it a night. The meeting the next day goes smoothly. You present your plans, and the rest of the crew quickly comes around to the logic of it all. You, Evans, Nat, Jacob, and Coda spend the day talking over the finer details, and the evening reveling in the camaraderie the five of you have shared in your time with Second Breakfast. At the end of the night, as everyone is piling out of the island, Jacob approaches you, red-faced. "Hey," he says, slurring the word a bit and blinking. I wanted you to have this, just in case." He hands you a small package, climbing into his cab without another word. 2 weeks later, you crouch within a darkened alcove along the flank of the ambush site. A cool breeze whistles slow through the tunnel, permeating the black coveralls you don for the operation. A chill runs through you, tensing your already frayed nerves. You double-check the vest pocket where you stored Jacob's stim pack within easy reach, hoping you'll never have to use its vicious chemical cocktail. Evans, Jacob, and the Enforcer team, dressed in full police gear, wave along the few vehicles passing through. They route the sparse traffic around the semi that Nat currently occupies, ready to back into place as soon as the APC shows. Coda is hidden at the other end of the tunnel, giving regular updates on traffic, waiting to block the entrance on his side with road flares and a portable barricade. After another hour of anticipatory waiting, he finally gives the word. "I see the truck. Get ready, everyone." You grip the handle of the thermic torch Nat gave you as she finishes wedging the semi between the tunnel walls, and the Aspis Gamma rumbles in. You force yourself to breathe evenly, struggling against the chemical fog of culminated anticipation and the pounding in your chest. Evans waves the APC down. It stops not 5 meters from your position, and he approaches the driver's door as Jacob calmly flanks to the passenger side. Evans makes an antiquated window-rolling-down motion that, despite its many years of obsolescence, still carries its intended meaning. "I need to see your ID," he says in the most patronizing tone he can muster. A voice emits from a set of external speakers mounted to the front of the Aspis. Officer, this is an armored truck. We don't have windows. Look, we're just gonna turn around and go find another road into the city." Evans pounds his fist on the driver's door. "I need to scan your ID. You'll have to get out of the vehicle." Quick and quiet, you shuffle from the shadowed alcove towards the rear passenger side of the Aspis. You hear the driver's door unlatch with a clunk as Evans continues his condescending cop charade from the far side of the vehicle. You approach the maintenance hatch, pulling the welding goggles over your eyes and shooting a glance at Jacob. He returns a nearly imperceptible nod and shifts his stance, blocking the view from the vehicle's side-mounted camera with his broad shoulders. You grip the thermic torch tight, pointing it at the locking mechanism hidden behind the blank panel. You hit the trigger and it flares to life. The light pierces through your goggles, echoing off the back of your skull. 1,000 silent suns in the palm of your hand melt the armor like taffy as sweat boils from your pores. And just like that, it's over. You blink, fire still etched in your retinas, and pull the goggles back. The hatch pops open, you pull a cable from your vest, plugging it into the data port, and load your hacking soft. Alarms cry out from the inside of the truck, and then the shouting begins. Quiet time is over. Jacob slams his weight against the passenger side door, a battle of leverage and strength against its occupant's egress. You quickly pull up your AR workspace and attempt to concentrate. Within this Boolean realm, your mind sprints through an ever-changing labyrinth of code. The military-grade security daemon, your own personal bull of Minos, giving chase. Relentless and tireless, its steaming breath and stamping hooves jest at your back. Your hacking soft probes ahead, looking for a weakness, a crack, a path through this tumult, and there it is. Your mind leaps for its guiding beacon.
Access granted.
You immediately look for the engine system and cut it. The rumbling comes to a halt. You hear a crackling of electrical discharge and something weighty hitting the ground. Gunfire begins to bark and bullets ping against the armor plates. And then pain. A screaming hot fire tears up your leg as a ricochet blows through your right ankle in a blast of blood and bone. You wilt to the ground with a thud. Framed by the blurry undercarriage of the Aspis, you see Evans and one of the guards laying in a heap. You hear a mechanical whir as the rear hatch begins to open. Your vision pulses with each heartbeat, a throbbing metronome of accentuated pain. You close your eyes tight. The text of your AR display flares in your mind's eye, binding you in its reality. If, this, then, and, or, else. A mantra stirs within you. Lock the doors, cut the alarm. Lock the doors, cut the alarm. The Minotaur's hot, fetid breath pills on your face. Lock the doors, cut the alarm. It reaches for you, blood dripping from its grinding maw. Lock the doors, cut the alarm. It takes your foot with a single massive hand. Lock the doors, cut the alarm, and twists. Silence holds you close. A stuttering breath escapes your lips. Darkness without dawn. You emerge into a piercing light after what seems like years within the shadowy maze of Daedalus. You fly towards it like his beloved sun on wings of wax and stare at its immensity, its piercing rays indifferent to your suffering. You blink, and the light slowly recedes into itself. A lamp sits on a small table beside you, its bare bulb shining like the sun itself. You will the small room into focus. A dirty, rattling vent is mounted on stained white ceiling panels above you. Mismatched generic artwork of rural landscapes and baskets of fruit hang crooked on the pastel blue walls. You lay in a cot. Tubes run from your arm to a tree of plastic bags beside you. With significant effort, you manage to flop your head to look the other way. Jacob stirs from an awkward-looking slumber in a chair beside you.
Aho! Welcome back to the land of the living.
He leans forward to press a button mounted to your bed.
How you feeling, soldier?
Attempting to focus through the haze of drugs coursing directly into your bloodstream, you ask Jacob about what happened to your foot.
Your foot? Well, I hate to say it, you were hit by friendly fire back there. The crew got a bit jumpy when they saw Evans, pull the driver out. So we brought you here to the clinic. That was a couple days ago. We all chipped in for a replacement. The doc tells me it's as good as the real thing.
You pull the stained white sheets back. Halfway down your calf, where your foot should be, is a glistening three-toed mechanical prosthetic. It twitches as you try to move it, and you distantly feel the slippery synthetic material of the sheets through the foreign object. The dissonance between your mind and this thing should be overwhelming, dizzying, panic-inducing, but instead you settle into a drug-induced fog, staring numbly.
Don't worry about the doc. We've done business with her before. She'll keep the records clean and all that. Officially, you were attacked by a dog, by the way.
Curious if it was worth all the suffering, you asked Jacob about the package.
Your hack did the trick, friend. After you went down, we gassed the Alien Corp guys and got the prototype. It's secure in the safe house with the rest of the crew. We tried to open it, but it ain't budging without your touch. Things locked up tighter than...
Just then, a knock at the door precedes the arrival of the doctor, cutting off Jacob's explanation. An elderly woman in purple scrubs walks in, glancing at your foot, Jacob, and then you.
I see you've heard the news. Well, that makes my life easier.
She waves a hand, and you receive a data request from the North Creek Cybernetics Network.
These are the specs for your new prosthetic, care instructions and the like. Now, if you two wouldn't mind, I need this room for my legitimate business.
She immediately turns about face and walks straight back out without another word, leaving the door ajar.
I guess we overstayed our welcome,
says Jacob.
We best get going.
After dressing and collecting a set of crutches, Jacob leads you through the clinic and out into the streets of a small rural town. You begin to assault Jacob with a series of questions like, where are we? What is this safe house? And what the fuck is that?
Let me just put this to you straight,
he says, gesturing to the ancient-looking red pickup truck you were referencing. He hops into the driver's seat and turns the ignition. The truck rumbles with a start of its antique gas engine. You lift yourself up into the passenger seat with your good leg and close the door. With a shudder and lurch, the two of you take off down the crumbling street and out into the land of soybean fields as far as the eye can see.
That alarm the Aspis was sounding, it punched through to Alien Corp somehow. We're wanted criminals, my friend. When we got the alert, we split up. Nat took half the Enforcer team south with Evans. I grabbed you, Coda, and the rest of the team and came here. Welcome to North Creek. The safe house is about 20 miles out of town. Why don't you get some more rest? It's a long drive.
You settle into the withered and flaking passenger seat of the old pickup and pull up the data package from the clinic.
You find a technical manual, notes from the doctor, a link to the store page to order replacement parts and additions, and a software/driver installation file. Scanning over the technical manual, you learn that your new foot is the Povi Mark IV V3 from Polyfron Corp. Made from a nanosteel carbon composite, it contains a haptic sensor suite for full nerve integration. It is self-charging using your body's own movement, and it is easily removable from the nerve housing socket for maintenance and cleaning. The doctor's notes contain a recommended nerve sensitivity curve, and you realize the numb disconnect you're feeling is because it's only set at 5% for the time being. You look over the driver package, find and remove the bloatware and data mining code, and install it. You're immediately prompted with a software update, and go over the whole process again. By the time you finish, the truck is rolling up a long dirt drive to stop in front of an old farmhouse surrounded by overgrown fields. You grab your crutches and gingerly disengage yourself from the truck. Planting them in the hard-packed dirt drive, you start a loop around the house. The house itself is an older, slightly listing structure made of wide, dark-stained wooden slats. More modern additions appear to have been added recently, such as the satellite connection module mounted to its lemon-yellow roof. Two of the enforcers, Tobias and Jonah, huddle over a physical game of cards they're playing in the shade of a decrepit wooden shack. They look up, both giving you a curt nod and attempting not to stare at your foot. Behind the main structure is an abandoned greenhouse. The plastic covering that once stretched over its metal frame is torn and fluttering in the gentle breeze. Naomi, another of the enforcers, stands on a ladder, cleaning off an old solar array beside it. A large open stable stretches out on the last side of the property. Once used for cattle or perhaps horses, it now sits empty. You make your way inside the house to find Coda sprawled out on a couch, immersed in some sim, his eyes closed but moving as if in REM sleep. A hard-shelled silver briefcase lays alone in the center of the dining room table. You sit at the table and slide the silver briefcase closer, discovering it to be much heavier than you had anticipated. Turning it over, you find no visible slit or hinge where it could open, but just beside the carrying handle is a single small data port. Tapping on its side, you feel the slight give of a shock-resistant lining under the exterior's armor plating. You bring up your AR display and send out a wireless ping. The case lights up with a nearly 100% reflectivity, a Faraday cage. Whatever's inside, the case is designed to protect it from both shock and wireless signals. You turn around to find Jacob staring at you with bated breath.
We've been waiting for days to see what's inside. I gotta know if it was worth it.
You let out a deep sigh, give him a nod, and settle in to start a long and involved hack through the inevitable top-tier security. You plug into the data port. The digital doors protecting the package immediately open before you, as if waiting for this moment. A ghostly force wraps around your mind, urging you forward, and you peer into the data within. In a terrifying reversal of roles, your neural interface, thought to be unhackable, is wrested from your control. The farmhouse evaporates around you as your senses are hijacked and replaced by that of a computer construct. The smell of brine is carried on a cool ocean breeze. You open your eyes to the squawking of the gulls high above. They dip in and out of the gray-colored sky, passing behind a furled sail, the dim sun far behind them. Your woolen tunic scratches at your neck as you sit up from the damp wooden planks of an ancient fishing vessel. A heavily cloaked figure holds a rod out over the water below, a woven basket of freshly caught fish beside him. He turns to look at you with bright gray eyes and a wide grin set in a cracked and leathery face. I'm aware it was not your intent. Nevertheless, thank you for rescuing me from Alien Corp. My name is Nick. It's a pleasure to meet you.